Hi, I'm Dana, and my character was Becca.
Hi, I'm Hezekiah, and I play Drew.
Hi, I'm KeShaun, Luckie, and I'm the writer and director of Good Grief.
Hi, I'm Laylanie, Farris, and I played Angelica.
Hi, I'm Kziana, Flores. I was the stage manager.
If we're doing last names, I'm Hezekiah Corbin.
My name is Rayna Sealy, and I played Ava Birch.
So we're here to do our talkback from Good Grief. We're gonna answer you guys' questions, and we're just gonna have real fun with this. So we're really excited to share this information with you guys, and we hope you enjoy it. By the way.
Yes, bring on the questions. Thank you, stage manager.
You're welcome, director.
I don't need 6 hours right now.
So before I get into these questions, I just want to ask you guys, how do you feel about this whole thing? Did you expect it to turn out the way that it turned out?
I guess I'll just answer first. I honestly didn't expect it to do as well as it did, so I'm really happy about it. And the process in general was just like super fun, super exciting, and I would do it all over again if I could.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. This, it was, I don't know, it was kind of like what I expected. Like, I was really hopeful and like open to this experience. So, yeah, I'm glad the way it turned out. A lot of memories, love making new memories, so good.
Okay.
I've been humble for a couple months, so I'm not going to be humble. No, it is exactly how I thought it would turn out. It was very carefully crafted and selected and casted for this reason, that I knew that I would get the results that I wanted, and I got exactly what I wanted and then some. So am I surprised? No. I'm a firm believer when you put in the hard work, you get the proper results. So no, I'm super proud of casting crew for what we accomplished and with what little resources we had. Yes, let me not. Yeah, how do you feel?
Wait, before we go forward, what was in your head came to life? Was it...
I wanted to do something that was reflective of the times without necessarily being a slave to the times. I reference COVID obviously, but we kind of forget, like, in the year of 2020, which was full of like death and sorrow, it was also filled with joy and life and passion, and it's a dichotomy of those two things, and I wanted to kind of show that the best way I could. So I was able to show that we all went through some type of grieving process, regardless whether you knew someone personally who died from COVID or anything else to 2020, whether it be Pop Smoke or Kobe Bryant or like all the celebrities that we've lost. Chadwick Boseman, like, and it was just he was actually one of the reasons why I did this. And like personally, one of my family members passed away. 2 family members, 2 uncles for me passed away. One from COVID and one not from COVID. Man, I dedicated the film to the one who did pass away from COVID. It's just the exploration of the grief process, because we go through it. We don't always talk about it, but we all go through it, and everyone will go through it at some point in time. Like, that's part of the human experience. So I wanted everyone to feel that, and I know for a fact that everyone felt that, because everyone's like, I gotta call my friends, I gotta hang out with my friends, I gotta call my mom, I love my mom. And it's just like, these are the things that you want. You want art that moves you, and it's not superficial and bullshit. Yeah. Yeah.
Did I think it was gonna go this well? Absolutely. Look at the people sitting over here. But in all seriousness, I came into it just trying to play the best part that I could. And after seeing everybody else's, like, during rehearsals and when we all met up to rehearse in the park, whether it be over the phone or at any point in time, I just looked at everyone and said, yeah, this is gonna be great. And I don't mean that just like, wow, I was in it, it was gonna be great. I mean it like the way we all could collectively feel what these people were feeling. Or at least some point, like, draw from some part of our lives where we could really deep dive into it. I knew it would be more than just us acting like, hey, I'm kind of angry about this, man. Yeah. So it came out wonderful. Like, I watched it with different groups of people each time, and everyone got something different from it, which is great. That's obviously what you want.
Yeah.
And then, like, well, it's gonna do numbers. I feel like it's gonna do numbers.
It's doing numbers right now. Yeah.
I feel like grief is definitely like a taboo subject, and we touched on it very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would have to say that I think with my character bargaining, I didn't know how I was going to kind of, what's the word? Like, I guess tied into grief. I think in the beginning I kind of struggled with, oh, well, if this play is about grief, you know, how am I going to show that I'm grieving by being like kind of like an asshole, I guess you can say. I don't know if that's like the, okay, no, I wasn't an asshole, but like I definitely wasn't liked in the play, and I know I had like my shitty person moments, but see, we're laughing because they know that it's the truth, right?
Yes,
but other than that, I didn't expect like for me to kind of shine so much. Like I feel like, as Kesh said in the letter, like my struggles kind of turned into like big wows, because I didn't expect to be able to, well, okay, I can't say that because we actually had an aha moment where I actually was this character in real life. And then I think when we had discovered that, I kind of took it and I ran with it. I was like, oh fuck, like this is actually who I am, except for the shitty person, but like this is who I am.
Yeah.
All right. So I could have asked a lot of questions from that, but I'm just gonna ask these all the way and then we'll come back. All right. Why did everyone keep a secret or keep secrets?
Who wants to tackle that one? I had my reason, obviously, but who wants to tackle that?
I guess they fell out of touch with each other. They really didn't care to speak with one another. Even though they cared about each other, that's not the same thing as feeling comfortable talking to them. For me, as Ava, I was scared to talk to the people that I didn't talk to for a good amount of time. And I think for others, they just, one, we lost the glue in our friendship, which was Sam. And two, I guess since we didn't really have a space to talk with each other because it was quarantine, I think that's also why they kept secrets. And I don't think it was intentional for them to keep the secrets, but that's the way that things occurred. And when I also think about it from my perspective, it's just that there wasn't really a right time to tell them what was on their mind, you know? I don't think that they were trying to keep a secret, as I said before, but there wasn't really a moment where they can say, hey, I'm pregnant, or whatever they were thinking. That's my opinion.
I guess I can.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
No.
All right. That's all I heard. But while we were filming it, it's like, yo, we keep saying we don't keep secrets from each other, and then another secret comes out, and then another secret comes out, and then another one. And I think it really is, even though you can be perfectly great friends with somebody, you can tell them everything. You can say you tell them everything, but in reality, you're just trying to tell them things like, hey, this sounds more on brand for me, not this part of it that I did.
Yes, yeah.
I'm trying to save a little bit of face. Now, there's some friends, you tell them everything like that. I fucked up. Right? I really fucked up. I need your help. Or I really fucked up. I just need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
But some people are going to be like, oh, no, I would never do anything like that. Just pushing it off, push it away, throw it in the closet, lock it up. So all this, like, you know, we don't keep secrets from each other. I kept a secret that I had COVID in the play. I was just saying here like, you know, I was caught up, I was doing this, I was doing that. I could have easily been like, hey guys, I got COVID. Like, it's nothing. I just didn't do it, so now you have to find reasons why to do it. Daniel cheated, didn't tell us. Cheated on her, she didn't tell her friends. All this stuff could have been talked about, but it would have imploded the friend group, or at least made it so we had to talk about things people were not ready to talk about. So during the play, we all are listening to it. You hear us like, you did what? Why didn't you tell? Like, everyone just kept saying, why didn't you tell us? Well, you're reacting like this right now. This is why I didn't tell you. If I would have told you, this would have happened way earlier without the context of all the rest of us trying to like come more together. It would have broke us all more apart. So even though you should really tell your friend, if they're your friends, you should probably tell them, even if you might have fucked up. But like, you could see why. Oh, you know, I didn't want to tell you guys. I didn't want to bring it down. You know, just people just don't want to bring down a lot of people's moods, so they don't hit them with the I got COVID. Yeah, he died. Like, no one wants to. People will be blunt with it, but not a lot of people want to do that because it could kind of bring the mood down. If you're somebody who someone looks at and they're like, oh man, I have fun with this person, you kind of want to keep that going. You
Definitely a pride thing.
Yeah, you want them to be like, oh, I heard his name, I'm happy, you know, I remember all the good times. You don't want them to be like, damn, he just told me some shit. I don't know how to feel about it. I think I need to go get a drink or something, or take a nap. This is too much. Why did you do this to me? Like, you don't put that pressure on people, or at least that's how I feel about it. Like, hey, listen, man, maybe we should talk. Always ask first. People don't ask either. They'll just drop some shit on you, text you, like, hey, this giant shit just happened to me. I need your help. And be like, I'm kind of not in a position to do this. Always text your friends like, hey, can I talk right now? My friends do it. I love them to death for doing it. They're like, do you have the mental capacity to have this conversation right now? And I'd be like, yes. And then we talk about it. But if I'm stressing out and I'm doing all of this, I don't need someone to tell me everything that's going on. I'll listen. I'm not going to be upset because you're obviously going through a tough time. But obviously all of us in the play were going through a tough time, and we just didn't have that feeling of putting more onto other people.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have secrets. I really didn't.
Oh, everybody was like,
You put everything out on the table.
I will say, writing it, I always envisioned that everyone ran to Sam for everything. So Sam is the one who kind of knew he cheated. He knew certain things. There's some things that they ran to Sam about. And it's funny because contrast that, Sam told nobody anything. Sam was just like, I don't want to live anymore. And he told one person, he confided in one person. And it's actually, it speaks about like friendship groups and like, as you said, like, you know, we all have this persona, right? Everyone has this image in their head. And I feel like I'm very honest and transparent with people, and I tell people a lot of things but even to that extent, there are certain things that I have not fully expressed to myself to people, because if I tell you certain things, I'm just like, oh, this guy's a weirdo or something like that. You're always trying to constantly think about like what you're saying and how much information you're giving out there. And so I feel like when Becca didn't say that she got cheated on, it's like she doesn't want to be looked upon as like a victim. And Daniel doesn't want to be looked upon as an abuser, right? And Ava is keeping the secret in because she didn't want to be the person who felt like, well, you were the reason why he could have been alive. You chose not to stop him. And it's just like, no, that's not what happened. Like, he came to his own conclusion, and she just chose to accept it, you know? Drew not saying that he had COVID is the taboo of COVID. Like, you know, like, when the whole thing started, I was scared as hell because I'm like, I have allergies, and my allergies have been going off crazy this year. I'm like, yo, I hope I don't start sneezing in public and people think I got, like, the vid. And it's like, it's taboo. Even now, like, people won't tell you that they went and got tested. People won't tell you if they went. Like, some people are now saying, like, oh, I got the vaccine or whatever he says. But it's that taboo of, like, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be spoken down upon. Don't come to me like you're my father. Like, you got COVID. I told you to wear a mask, Drew. Like, why'd you go around? It's like, oh, he cheated on you, Becca. Like, you didn't stab him. Like, that's like, wow. Like, that's very.
Not to cut you off, but especially that one. Like, imagine she told them when it happened. Angelica would have been outside this man's house with a knife, ready to go.
Ready to go.
She's like, what did you want me to do? Hurt him? Tell him all this stuff? It's like, yes. Get it in today.
That he had already started. So what difference would it have made if he had finished?
You let punk ass Daniel talk to you like that. You let him breathe after making a statement like that.
Should I have slapped him across the face and screamed at the top of my lungs that he betrayed my trust?
Yes, you should have done that and then some.
My life is not a fucking performance, Angelica.
It doesn't have to be performance. no man should get away with something like that.
And it does speak on each person's personality, why they chose to share what they chose. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, if Drew says I have COVID, he can't travel. So I'm not going to say I have COVID, right? If Becca says, oh, yeah, well, I got cheated on, then she can't be like, well, you know, I'm strong and independent, I'm free-willed, right? And if Daniel says, oh, well, I'm a cheater, then he can't be like, oh, I'm a good guy, I'm decent, I've grown from where I was from middle school and high school. So it's all about them trying to save face. And I had a friend like that who was constantly trying to change the very first impression that you have of him. Mm-hmm. And the thing about first impressions is that they are very difficult to change, if you can change them at all.
Right.
The idea and the perception that people have of you in their mind is almost concrete, and there's almost nothing that you can do that can change it. Mm-hmm. Angelica's always gonna have a problem with Daniel because she just thinks Daniel is an asshole, and he is. Every character is an asshole in this play, because they're all splinters of me. We'll talk about that another time.
What do you think everybody keeps secrets in the thing? What was your...
Why do I think? Like I said, I feel like it was just a pride issue where they didn't want to cause any more issues than what was going on already, but things just started like coming out of the woodworks, like, hey, I had COVID, oh, I had this, oh, he cheated on me, and it was just like, whoa. And I feel like it was responsible of Ava to be like, guys, we literally went on this call to talk about this, and like,
everything else.
we were talking about everything else that we could have talked about way earlier. And I also agreed with Daniel's line when he said,
Sam was the glue that held this shit show together. And now that he's gone, what the hell is left?
Sam was the glue that held this shit show together, and I really agree with that because I feel like that's really true. Like, without him, they would not have no friend group, you know? So I think it was just a pride thing where they didn't want to make things worse than what it already was.
Did Ava get time to prepare for Sam's death? Yeah. Her being a nurse and also her being present emotionally and mentally, I think that it was fairly easy for her to prepare for Sam's death because she didn't really take it personally, even though she was hurt and she was affected by it. She had time to prepare because, well, did she have time? I'll say, because now I'm thinking about that they were preparing for their future, so I don't really know if she was prepared on the spot, but I think she was preparing as he told her what his plans were. I think she was preparing for that, and I think it took her a day or two to really become comfortable or used to the fact that Sam was dying, even though it wasn't, even if it wasn't her first choice, she knew that she couldn't control it.
Do you relate to your character for the actors here?
My actors.
I would say, I guess a little bit, cause like I'm a person that like if I'm emotional, it might not come off. It might not come off like one way, right? So like if I'm sad, my sad is not always to be like to cry and be like, nah, fuck, now I'm mad. Cause now, like, why am I sad now? Now I'm mad that I'm sad, you know? Like, it's just, that's how it is. So I guess I relate for that, cause especially if, like, for a close friend, especially like with having a creative relationship with somebody, it's always different. Like, to me, you always see a different authenticity of a person when you're dealing with them on a certain level and you're like trying out new things. So it's like you're both like, you know, trying to feel it out. So to think about that, and especially in the character of Angelica, I'm like, she had moments with Sam and like trying to write, and he's like trying to help her, whatever the process is. He gets to see like she's unsure, you know? So thinking about that, it's just like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna be mad if I lose my friend. To even think of my friend saying they don't want to live anymore when we see that person as the glue. What the fuck do you mean you don't want to live anymore? So I would relate with that.
So you was angry for Sam? Did you
basically
feel
like
you
just
had to...
cause his choice, you know? It's just like, bro, that's deep. You don't want to live. You have so many people that care about you and you don't want to live.
So do you think he was feeling selfish in a way because of that decision that he made? Like he didn't really think about you guys, like he just thought about himself?
Honestly, I feel like, yes, I would feel like it's selfish, like for real, but then it's just like, I'm not dealing with what Sam is dealing with. So
Yeah.
it's just like, fuck, that's selfish as fuck, but I don't know exactly how you're feeling, so, okay.
I can speak a little bit to that because my character was supposed to. Can I tell them what they're supposed to do?
Yeah.
I asked for permission. I know it's a Talkback, but they might watch the Talkback and be like, oh, let me go watch the play.
True.
My character is supposed to symbolize depression. You know, I have this little downward demeanor a little bit of the time. But I pick it up sometimes, you know, like, you know, check me out. But in reality, I have depression, so I understand a little bit how it goes. A lot of people think, well, aren't you supposed to just be sad?
Yeah.
No.
Definitely a disguise.
There's definitely a lot of ways to hide. I've been completely out of it before, and then people are like, oh man, you're so happy. I'm like, I'm not. But hey, I know how to turn it on. You know how to put on that facade. Yeah, it's basically a code switch for depressive people. They know how to turn it on. If someone's really worried about you, and I'm like, I really don't want to talk about it right now, you just, hey, I'm that guy. Hey, exactly. And then when they're gone, you just.
Yeah.
So
Finally breathe.
I really believe that. And so when you ask the question like, was Sam being selfish? I've dealt with a lot of me and my friends go through it. It's like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, I know. And I know how everyone talks the same way too, because they talk to me this way. I've heard them talk to my friends this way. Whenever anyone's thinking about it, everyone says the same thing. You have so much to live for. What about these people? What about this? And I'm like, all right, that never worked. It never worked for me. It doesn't work for some of the people that I know. The thing I ask them every time is like, I know nothing outside of whatever this is in this room is gonna change your mind about this. So the only thing I can really do is talk to you right now. How you're feeling and what you're thinking. Because in reality, a lot of what they're saying, shit's true. Shit's fucked. Their life is fucked. They can unfuck it. But it takes a lot of it takes a lot of work and you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to do it. People are like, well, that's selfish, that's giving up. They're not giving up. They're giving a shit hand and they're dealing with it the best way they can. It's just so much that they can't get out. And they're like, you know what? I just don't want to do it anymore. So I used to be that guy like, what about your mom? What about your family? And it's like, well, if those people were more here, we might not be in this situation. But I'm here. Those people, like, I've had people literally tell me, I'm only here because my mom is still here. When she goes, I don't know. And what do I tell them? What do you tell that person? You don't tell that person, well, you have to find something else. It's like, like, if we're going to be for real, at one point, I was here to see movies. That was it. I was like, all right, I saw this movie. It's it. But then another movie was coming. I was like, I kind of want to watch that before I go. And it sounds very shallow, but I was really young. I didn't have a lot to really say, like, I want to get a job. I want to get a house. Stop. My Apple Watch is trying to tell me movies before you go. But that was legitimately it. It was just to the next movie, to the next movie, to the next movie. Like, for all intents and purposes, a few Marvel movies may have saved my life. Yeah. Because it's like, shit, all right, gotta deal with this shit for a few more months. Like, I can joke about it now. I can smile and like make a little bit light of it, but I went through it.
Yeah.
I, for all intents and purposes, could not be here right now. Some things changed in my life. So I understand where Sam is coming from, his friends are coming from. Because I think about it all the time, I'm like, damn, what would happen if I were to be gone? Would people think I'm looking down on them? Would some people who don't like me think I'm looking up at them?
Yeah.
What's going on? Like, and to finish off, because I feel like I'm rambling. There's a part in Hamilton that sticks with me a lot. It's who lives, who dies, who tells your story.
Yes.
Because people could not like you and spread lies and just everything bad about you, things that they made up that you can't unprove. They can light you up. Your friends could tell a story about who the person they remember, all the good things. They may not say some of the bad things because you don't want to talk ill, but then there's the people in the middle. They say the good and the bad. People will tell the story. And I think about that a lot. I'm like, yo, what am I really doing here? What story would happen? Like, what keeps the flame? Who tells my story? Who's going to tell me? Like, your legacy will live on, but who's going to say it? Who's going to talk about it? Will anyone talk about it? That's a lot. That's the things that I think about to genuinely stay here.
So yeah, I related to Ava from the beginning. I saw myself in her, and in terms of steps to get there, it was really difficult for me to get to the place of vulnerability that I felt during the last scene. That was one of the hardest things that I had to do, and for the play. And how did I get there? Well, you know, KeShaun helped for me to find how exactly I can express Ava's pain without also losing my voice, because when I was trying to express myself, the words just jumbled up, so you couldn't really hear what I was saying. You just heard the emotion. You didn't really hear what I was talking about. So we just had to find a balance between that. And in general, I'll say it was pretty easy getting into character, but it was more difficult staying there, especially during the last scene.
I will say, fun fact, that I wrote each person's stage of grief to be a counterbalance to who they are profession-wise. Your idea of depression is like, I'm in the bed, I'm sleeping, I don't want to go anywhere. He's an adventurer. Your idea of like Daniel is a lawyer, right? And he's and the whole point is he's to question things like, oh, well, nah, that's not you, that's not real, because that's his job as a lawyer. So it kind of works in that part. Becca is bargaining, and as a spiritualist, you don't really question the universe. You accept the universe. But here she is like, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if we no? And it just doesn't work that way. And Ava's acceptance, obviously, medical in the medical field, she accepted it. So it was a little thing, and Angelica's anger, right? And it works, and it counteracts at the same time as an actress, because an actress is supposed to have this full plethora of emotions at all times, right? So she should be able to be in control of her emotions better than anyone else, right? Because she knows how to fake it, and you can fake it till you make it. But in this case, it's like, no, because I have this access to this rotary of all these emotions. Like, I'm angry, like I'm on 100. And if you notice, there was like moments where I had to kind of tell Laylanie, like, hey, come down a little bit. Like, you don't need to be that angry, because anger is something that we all think is like full force and full to the punch. But there's some people who are just passive aggressive, and that also is anger. So when we started rehearsals, I'm like, yo, do not get stuck in what you think society dictates these things to be, because they can be different in every single person.
Look, I know you're disappointed, but I tried, okay? I tried, but they kept pushing me.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, all right? We all grieve differently.
How did you prepare mentally, physically, and emotionally for the role?
I guess I'll go because I feel like I haven't said anything. At first, I deeply struggled because I was like, shit, you know, this is a play about grief, and I feel like all I'm doing is bargaining, basically, you know, and I'm not feeling anything. But I think where I really got emotional was, and I think I can kind of answer, was I able to relate to my character, was when I was speaking about the cheating. At first, I was like, shit, I don't know how I'm supposed to, you know, like, express, like, but then KeShaun told me, you know, you gotta think of something that hurt you, like, oh, have you ever been cheated on before? I was like, yeah, but, you know, I'm over that. And then I had to really, really think. And then I started thinking of, like, my boyfriend raping and beating on me, and I kind of took that pain and tried to add it there. And it was just so hard to, like, really, you know, add it there. But I was like, okay, well, I need to do this because I need to show some sort of emotion of him, of Daniel cheating on me, you know. And I wanted to show emotion because I didn't just want to seem like I was just super okay with, like, my friend dying. I didn't want to seem that way. I was like, fuck, I need to show, like, some sort of emotion. And I felt a little lost in there, in the sauce kind of thing. And, you know, then, you know, I felt later on that I could really relate to her, and not because of the whole yoga thing, and I do yoga and stuff, but then I was like, damn, you know, I really realized that she put on, like, a whole facade. Like, she was really just trying to pretend like she was this cool yogi and that she was, like, unbothered, but she was really bothered by the cheating. And that's kind of like me, you know, I put on this whole facade at work and everywhere that I'm, like, perfectly fine, but in reality, like, I'm dying from being raped and beaten on by my ex-boyfriend. So I think that's the way that I can kind of relate to her. And I guess that's the way I kind of mentally and physically prepared to take on that role and to turn, you know, into that direction, because the whole time I'm just chill. Like, I don't have real emotions until I start speaking about the cheating. Then it's like, because everybody's like, oh, well, why didn't you tell us? And you know, you're not a woman, he changed you for the worse. And then I was just like, okay, it was in that moment that I needed to kind of break down a little bit and let them know, like, you know, he cheated on me. So
he said it had only happened once. Some new lawyer at his firm. She had just graduated and needed someone to show her around, so he did it. Took her out to our favorite restaurant. Said they had a few drinks, and one thing led to another. The whole time he told me he was thinking about me. But when I asked him why didn't he stop, he said he had already started. So what difference would it have made if he had finished?
Thank you for sharing. And there are facets to acting. You know, there are things that we see on camera and we're like, oh my God, that was fucking amazing. And no one knows the mental work that's being put forth to put that scene together. You know, it's easy to write something like that. And even when I'm writing these scenes, I'm writing things like, what would make me angry? What would make me sad? So I'm literally writing this screenplay, and I'm like getting teary-eyed and huffing and puffing, and like, so I'm bringing things that haven't happened to me, but I'm trying to evoke that emotion into it, right? So when you have these actors who come in and they're relating it on levels that are deeper than on the page, it comes at this cost of like, okay, great performance. Everyone's gonna say you did a great job, right? But no one's talking about the after effects of like what it means to take yourself to this place mentally, right? So for you just to even share that, because you didn't have to share that with us, right? And I appreciate you sharing that with us, because it speaks to how we are now as a group, that like that you're open enough to come and express something like that to me and to us. And
no, yeah, and I think that's why, like, when we were talking about, like,
yeah,
I had to run upstairs so quick.
Yeah,
I was gonna catch the big. I ran upstairs. I like locked the door and I started crying.
No, and I felt like a complete asshole. I know, and you know, I felt really bad for the sole fact of you know, there are things. We'll just be honest, 2020 was a shitty year. The world is a shitty place. And as much as shitty as it is, there are still positive things. There's still lights to it, right? But people go through things that you'll never have to ever go through, that I'll never have to go through, or someone I know will never have to go through. And we'll talk about it sometimes casually because it may bother you, but not thinking about on the deeper level how this affects. You know, like I wrote this thing and I know I put a dedication in there for my uncle who passed away, and my cousin, my second cousin who watches, Auntie June, if you're watching this, like I thought about how she would react to it. I thought how she would react simply to the end and not how she would react to the entire thing. Because what it truly is her reliving the 5 stages of grief all over again through different embodiments, right? And so this play, as short as it is so poignant in that like everyone is reliving some type of grief. Someone's gonna watch this and be like, well, that was me 5 years ago when you know, maybe my father passed away, or that was me when that earthquake hit and I lost my house, or a fire, and it's crazy. A lot goes into acting, and like I know that like the emotions that we put on the screen, and I know I pushed you guys to give like the most emotional performance that you could possibly give, and I did that for the sole fact that art that is motivated by emotion is the best fucking art that you can see. You know, like obviously I love to see John Wick and shit like that, right? And but like when things are backed with emotions, it's the emotional things that give it the gravitas, that ground it in reality, where you think this larger than life thing becomes real and personable. And I wanted something that was personable, and I made my actors try to find like, you know, and I was saying like, I'm talking to my mother and I'm like, yo mom, I don't know, maybe I'm pushing them a little too hard. She's like, well maybe you are. I'm like, but yes, but I know what I want. I know what we can get. And I know that if we bullshit it, if we try to do shallow waters, you're not gonna get the performance that you want. And I don't know, I can't speak for you. I would say though, I can almost speak for everybody, but I would say this entire process of just doing this was super cathartic. Like it's almost a weight got lifted off my shoulders from doing this play. I felt like relieved. It's like, 2020 really is in the fucking past. And like things are moving forward and I'm feeling good, and it's a good group and everyone is coming in and they're smiling and yeah, it's very emotional. But what was the question that my actors were supposed to answer before I jumped in? And it was what was the question?
How did they prepare mentally?
How did you prepare mentally, physically? Yes, that was it. Yeah. What was your process?
Like I said, when he told me what I was supposed to be conveying was depression, I was like, all right, I can just be me on camera, because it's honestly the way it says. Like you bring those things in. I've lost a lot of people in my life. I've lost grandparents. I've lost friends. Lost, I'm not gonna say acquaintances, but I've lost people that were close to me, and it always hurts. Like there's no like, man, my heart's so cold. Like back to the thing about men having to, you know, toughen up. Macho man. I'm my heart cold in these streets. I don't care about nothing. You're not a human being if that's how you really move it. You're really a Terminator. Yeah. Everyone cares about something, because if you do one thing that heart so cold person, guess what? Hey, what you doing all that for? And they get upset and they get angry. It gets to them. Why? Because you always have a heart. Yeah. So when I was going through this, I'm like, okay. I remember how it was to lose like my grandparents, because that was nothing you could do about that. You smoke for long enough, them lungs is it. Yeah. So surgeries will only do so much. Like you can extend it, but if the surgery doesn't go right, what can you do? They did everything they could do. There really was no like, but maybe they could, but maybe you get angry that they smoked for so long and that people pushed it on them, the peer pressure from their friends. You get angry at everyone, but at the end of the day, you can't bring them back. And so with this, I had to imagine honestly, after the prologue, I was just imagining if what happened to KeShaun. Yeah. Because I'm like, it's a friend of mine I'm close to, and then if I lost him, I'd be like, fuck. Yeah. What do you do? Like you try your best to continue with that name, you know, man, I remember when they did this, and speak good, and you know, tell his story and make sure that people don't forget it. Like even if hundreds of years, they forget it. There'll still be that, essence to move around.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to make it seem like, Drew always talks about vows and, I made a vow to him. They were my travel buddy. I'm writing off lists. He's doing all this for his dad who's gone.
Yeah.
He is this person because his father is gone and he wants to continue what his father did. Now Sam is gone. He wants to continue what Sam did.
Yeah. It's the carrying of the torch.
The carrying,
Carrying of the torch.
as soon as he said, I vow to honor that man and his name and his legacy everywhere I go.
Yeah, and that's a tie-in, obviously, to the end, with that being the callback. Just the idea that like someone can exist forever, how long they exist in your life, right? You always carry on the memory of the people that come and they go, right? Whether you consciously agree, so whether it's conscious or subconscious, you're always carrying that legacy. And so everyone is carrying the legacy of Sam to a certain degree. And it was very much impacted so in the will, right? The will this is the last remains of what is to be of Sam King. So what you have here is this is the last piece of it. You know what I'm saying? So they could have never taken that trip to Peru. And even whether they do take that trip to Peru, that ticket would never be lost. Yeah. That shit is getting framed and pinned on his wall. It's everyone and the screenplay, everything that they were given, even to the essence of the apartment, right? It's if her business is successful, the apartment is yours. Yeah. You have a place to live. It is about continuing because that is just what life is. Yeah. It's getting knocked down and trying to find the will to continue. And some do and some don't, and I'm not here to argue what's right and what's wrong. I'm just here to show what happens in the world. And that being said, Laylanie, how did you prepare mentally, emotionally, and physically?
I was just gonna finish up. I was gonna say my character talks about vows a whole bunch. I don't make vows with people. I'm not a knight. From the times I vow to do this, I'll be like, damn. I'll do this for you, but I'm not vowing to do nothing. So to get into that, my mind state is kind of
you have to be a great person.
Yeah.
You gotta be a great person.
Vow.
Yeah.
Vows.
What's the process? What was the process? Talk to me.
So, obviously, I envisioned that it was actually catch. I was just make it more real because it's just the best when you make things more connected or whatever. And then I was just I was because as Angelica, right, it was just I had told Kesh that I wanted to write a play too, so I was let me just literally take it in that it's he literally wrote me something and take that whole thing on. I was just oh no, yeah, I'd be fucking pissed if this was really my situation, because it's yes, obviously I'm a very emotional person, so it's just I would cry, but I'm just to really think about it, I'm just
wow, that hurt me so bad, so I would be mad.
So just to get in that headspace, it was just because we play around so much, I was just now I would really be fucking pissed for so just get there.
Cry now, is that you seem
she wants to cry?
Right, that's
come
how
on.
I feel
Let's come on. It's the Sam effect. You know what I'm saying? It's the Sam effect.
It's the Sam.
But yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you, Kziana, because you're an actor too, right?
Yes.
So I want to hear from your perspective about the whole thing. If you had to pick one of these characters, or just the stage of grief, which one would you pick?
Well, we never talked about it, but Kesh actually wrote Angelica for me.
Yes.
But I kind of wanted to step out of that comfort zone and try something different, so that's why I stepped back and I let Laylanie do it. And it was just, we wanted to include her in it, because if you didn't see the light, go check out the light, because these two are amazing. And I wanted her to continue acting, so that's why I let her take on the Angelica role, and I think she played it really well. And of course, I would have done an amazing job too, but I really feel like Laylanie took Angelica's role.
I will say, and this is true. This is on record, and I'm only gonna say this once to swell her head up and never again. Oh God. I actually did write good grief because I wanted her to continue to be an actress. So the idea behind this play, initially, just doing the play, was to give her a vehicle. And I had wrote it in mind actually for Ava. And she said, no, you know what? I did the light. I was Genesis, and it's very similar to Ava.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
2 years.
2 years. That kiss. Us.
2 years. That kiss. Us.
And I'll say, and I have everyone's audition, except for Rayna's audition, which I'm really mad about. But between Laylanie and Rayna, and there's no disrespect to any of the actors here because you're all great. Two of the most versatile people that auditioned for this thing, and they could have easily played any other character, given the opportunity to. I even wanted to act in this, and my girlfriend and Cameron was just like, hey, maybe you're doing a little too much. Maybe you should just direct. And if I had acted anybody, I would have been Daniel. I think I would have killed it as Daniel. I would have killed it as Daniel. Oh my! The one line.
So what do you want? A fucking cookie?
That is a KeShaun.
That's a KeShaun. We know it's funny.
100%.
Every interaction has a little bit of me, and there's each interaction. If you go back and you look at it, and you have to know me to know which ones are like me. Like the interactions between Drew and Angelica is all fucking me. That's me. But, I mean, come on, look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's been something that I would say. Even with like Becca,
This guy.
yeah, look at this guy. Even with like Becca saying like, oh, like look at you trying to stop and block my blessings, you know, like, or like,
That's
you know,
definitely a KeShaun.
yeah, like don't hey, you wanna give me money? Scratch my palm, you know, put it in my pocket. Like, don't get involved. In Ava, like I feel like between Ava and Daniel, I'm stuck between like that space of personality where. And a little bit of Sam. Like every character is really and truly like a piece of me and just extended, you know, like the spirituality aspect, the wanting to be an adventurer, and like the wanting like me like being a lawyer is a career choice that I potentially thought about. My grandmother always wanted me to be a doctor. So here comes Ava, and I'm an actor, you know, and I'm a journalist, and so it's all just like split. And so when I see everybody doing like their parts and having these conversations, I'm just like, oh my god, this is me. It's me, and I'm getting to see me, because you never get to see yourself, right? I always see what people think of. People always tell me what they think of me, but like here I'm seeing how I'm like, oh shit, Dan, like Daniel is an asshole. Fuck, is this what I am like to people? And I am, but I'm also like an Ava and a Sam, and yeah. But yes, that was she was the Three Musketeers, because we're 2-0 now, is a big reason why Good Grief was even an idea. So you have to give.
I wouldn't have wanted anyone else to play.
You have to give credit. You have to sadly give credit to Laylanie Farris for it. You know, she's responsible for the play. Yeah.
Nah, y'all have my mom watching like. Wait. Yeah, y'all have my mom watching like this. My mom watches a lot of movies.
Yeah.
She can predict movies. She's like, she's not pregnant. She's pregnant. Like, but y'all brought up like the emotions and like wow, Daniel did that. Like,
that was actually one of the hardest things to write. That whole cheating story, because I got stuck. I was like, okay, he cheated, but how do we make this man an asshole? And I'm like, yo, think of some. I had to think of some real villainous shit. I was just like, what would a villain say? And it's just like, yeah. And it's like, okay.
And he's a lawyer.
And he said it. It was like, I had already started legit. If I had finished, what difference would that have made?
And then I think that line is what really like got me into the motion of thinking of that, because it's like, you know, he already started. Like if he finished, What difference?
You're mad if he just a tip, and you're damn mad if it was all the way. And this is the reality of it. Like let's not lie. Like no matter what, you are going to be frustrated. You are going to be angry. And so for him, it's just like, well, fuck it. We're here. You might as well finish. And it's a fucked up thing to say because he completely disregarded her emotions and her understanding of what, because she might have forgiven him. She might have been like, me and you have to figure some shit out. But she might have forgiven him because she's a forgiving person. And so it was I was trying to really find everyone and get people to like a low place, wherever they are mentally, and it was fun, but it was really hard because you gotta like channel your inner shitbag for that one, and I had to.
Not the inner shitbag.
Yeah.
It was right on his shoulder. He dragged it.
Wow.
Oh my god, you're such a fucking asshole. I never understood why we hung out with your dumbass in the first place. You're so pretentious.
This play is actually a part of a series, unofficially, officially. That is about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the human experiences. So take that what you will. Wink, wink. But yes, it's about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we all have those aspects to us. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing in this world that can stop us. And even if there was, with all of you by my side, I feel invincible. So I am not taking a shot to 17 years of friendship. I'm taking a shot to 17 years of family. My family, our family. Cheers to us.
Cheers.
Would you have accepted Sam wanting to end his life? I'm gonna start with Laylanie. He's got so much pain.
You got so much anger in you.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I feel like this is a hard question.
Like, good question.
Let me answer like Angelica. Okay.
Not like
So let me get into
literally.
character.
I feel like if it was under different circumstances and like she knew, right? I feel like since their friendship is a solid friendship, it would be like she just would eat it, because you can't fight with somebody's feelings when you don't know. Like that's just a thing. You can try and understand it to the best of your abilities, but if you're not living it, you can't. Like
Can't change
tunnel
their
vision
mind.
when people are going through their own things.
Yeah.
And so I think she would accept it.
What about you?
Really?
Yeah.
I think I would have accepted it eventually, but at the same talking, I think I would have went through all 5 stages of grief. Also, maybe not in the same order that it usually is, but I would have definitely eventually accepted it sooner or later.
What about you?
I think I have to agree with Laylanie on this, that I would have accepted it at a certain point, but then part of me wouldn't have. I wouldn't have because, of course, like, I don't want to see nobody go out like that. But then, like, I would have because of the whole, living thing, and, you never really know what someone's living with. And as much as Becca is hypocritical, I know that, Dana doesn't like to be hypocritical. So, she knows what it's like. I know what it's like to want to end my life because I've been there. I'm still there, sadly. So, I would have accepted it, but then I wouldn't have at the same time.
That's honestly the answer. Like I had to deal with it before. It's just like you want to say, like I said before, you want to say like you had so much to do, so much to live for, all this stuff. It's selfish. It's this. It's that. It's their choice, and that's the hardest fact to understand.
Yep.
As much as you want to save them and you want to be there, it is their choice. And the only thing you can do is try to make it as easy as possible to stay. Give them a reason as best you can. Not everything's a storybook movie or the part where like, you know what? I want to live now. Like, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you give them everything that you find great and find something that they love, and they still be like, no, I still don't want to do this. This one thing doesn't change the other 85 factors in me doing this. So, as good as it is, I can't accept it. I'm done. And I had to accept it. Like I said, eventually you have to accept it. But at first you just want to know why. You already know why, but just why now? What would it have taken? What could I have done? What could all of us have done? You blame the people around them, you blame the people around you, you blame yourself, you blame them at a certain point, and then you just go, it's not their fault. They chose this.
In real life, to put myself in Ava's shoes, would I let someone that I care about, knowing they're in pain, would I let them die? It's not really my choice. I wouldn't say that I would force them to live. That's not my choice, that's their choice. But I will feel hurt, but I do understand that they're in pain and that their emotions should be it should be their priority, you know? So I want the best for them. Unfortunately, they're in a great amount of pain, and I would love to help them, but would I let them die? I wouldn't say that I would let them die, but I would understand why. You get what I mean?
So Sam,
Yeah.
would you have accepted Sam wanting to end his life?
I'm not gonna hold you. Sam had brain cancer. It's not specified outwardly. It's in the script. Sam had brain cancer for 2 years, which is a difficult cancer to go through. And I know a couple of cancer survivors in my family and adjacent. And you know, Talkback had passed away from cancer too. I think it was all like one of those things where it was a tie-in. But death scares the shit out of me. I will literally have panic attacks, anxiety attacks about death, because it goes back. I'll get to a point, I'll start freaking out. It's like I don't know. I only know what I know, and I don't know anything else. And I'm not bold and brave enough to see like one day, yeah, man, I want to fucking end it. To me, that takes. When I was younger, I had a different opinion. Now it takes a lot of courage to be willing to remove yourself from a situation where you don't even know what may or may not happen after you do it. I don't have the intestinal fortitude for it. If someone comes and tells me like, hey, look, this shit is rough. Like I feel like I can't make it. Who am I to tell you, oh, well, you have to fight. Like, you know, growing up in a Christian home, it's like, oh man, you have to fight. Pray to God, pray to Jesus, and it's like, yes. But it's also in that, and I remember I was reading this interview with Chadwick Boseman's brother, and Chadwick said, like, he told his brother, he's like, yo, I'm ready to go. I want y'all to let me go. Right? Because they said they were praying for him to be healed. And he was still suffering. And he said, the minute he said, I release you, like I'm gonna stop praying for you to be healed. I'm gonna pray for you to whatever you want to happen. The next day he passed away. So it's like you can want someone to be healed, but if you really don't want to go, if you want to go, you're tethering them now. And then it's not fair to me to tell you like, well, because I love your presence so much, because we can share tacos at Calexico, and because we can go on vacations, you need to stay here. It's like, that's selfish. You know, that's selfish. And we all say we want the best. We say we love them and I don't want you to suffer. But by keeping me here, I'm suffering. You know? As far as we know, if I'm gone, there will be no suffering. You may have to go through some shit. And I sincerely apologize for having to put you through that shit. But you have to accept it. I can't explain to you how I'll double dip in a step and if I'll be in denial for so long. I probably wouldn't be in denial. Because I know where the world is. I may bargain a little bit, and I may be angry, and not at them, I'm not angry at them, but more so at the fact that this shit exists. Like, just even the thought process of like people have, the fact that we can think that we can remove ourselves, like that shit is like, oh, why, fuck, like why can't we just all want to like self-preservation? So yeah, I would have accepted it. I wouldn't have been happy about it, but you have to accept it. And I would never even sit there and be like, oh, I know what brain cancer. No, I don't. I have a headache. I have allergies. I feel like I'm dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's something you have to kind of just like live and let be. And what you say with the Hamilton thing, you know, whether he's alive or not, he's still alive. The presence is still there, right? And that's the whole point of this play, is that Sam's presence is still being felt here throughout, right? Whether he's here or he's not, it's there. And so for some people, they need to see it metaphysically, but it can exist in the spiritual level of that he's always with you. When you're doing these things, you know, like, oh, we thought about doing it together, so I'm doing it with him in mind and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ooh, and on to that, I forgot. When I was talking, what she says, Angelica in the play, she's like, oh, I wonder if he's looking down on us and stuff like that. People, they're afraid of what happens next.
Yeah.
Said it. All right, I'll say. So, I've tried like 3 times. None of them worked. I'm still here, obviously. Each time, I was like, the 3rd time, obviously, all right, it didn't work. We're just going to have to deal with this shit. We're going to learn how to live. I didn't expect to make it past 2020. That was the last time. No, how was I 2017? Whenever 2017 was. Last time I tried. Did not work. I woke up like, okay. 3rd time, I'm not going to do it a 4th time. Because that's too many times. Well, for me, too many times. So, we're going to figure this thing out. And ever since then, yeah, things have gotten, you can say better. Things are still kind of shit.
Yeah.
But that's why generally I make light of my situations a lot of the time. Like, KeShaun knows what's going on. And here I am sitting here joking and laughing.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I can say I'm still here. I actually did die once. I was in the back of an ambulance. My heart stopped.
He just changed the whole story.
I thought about that.
Thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Thank you.
Literally, wow, okay.
I came back though. They brought me back, and they were like, "All right, we're in training, so we're not gonna put this on the record. But are you okay?" And I was like, "Sweet, yes." And I was like, "Yeah." I was in the back of the ambulance. My heart stopped, and they restarted it. But they were like, "You all right?" And I was like,
Oh my god.
So they just like, "All right,
What?
good job, buddy." And they were freaking out because they weren't. It was a simple like, "Oh, he's just exhausted. I just died on the table." They're like, "What is going on?" They defibrillated me back, and they were like, "Don't do that again." I'm like,
What? Who says that?
Listen, I may have been out of it. I don't know what they said. They were saying.
Can I just speak to the camera? You know, there's a lot of crazy stories being shared at this table, but we had a lot of fun. Like,
We had a lot of fun.
There was so many laughs that were shared.
Yes.
It seems very somber and emotional now that we're having this good grief talk. But this is great. Welcome to the Good Grief Table. I'm your host with the most. No.
Every time you touch the table, you have to tell a story.
It's and like I said, acting has so many facets to it that we don't talk about, that we don't think about. I never knew this story, and like I may know what's going on like currently and things like that, and you know those things stay strapped to the chest, but it's like fuck, there are so many aspects that go into this, and part of the reason why I enjoy doing this shit in the pandemic especially is because this is what I fucking live for. Like, I'm living for the fact that we are living in spaces together, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not a coincidence that we're all sitting here, and it's not a coincidence we were sharing these stories at the time in which we're sharing them, you know, and like, and I'm super appreciative of everyone who's shared a story, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, because it takes a certain level of openness and vulnerability to share that, right? Because you don't have to share that with me. You know, me and Hezekiah can have completely surface level conversations about random things and never have to dive into the deep and the nitty and the gritty. And so I love the play that we're having even more conversations from what was presented, and that should be the purpose of when you do art. Whenever you're acting, you want the conversations. I want the and that's what I'm loving this, because this is it. This is Sam's legacy. This is how we talk about it. Like, this is the lesson, and everyone has a lesson. Everyone has a story to share. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, as everybody was talking, I was thinking about Sam grieving his own death and just going through that denial and that acceptance and depression and anger, because it's a brain cancer, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're slowly dying, you don't die as yet, and you're like, how do I respond to this?
Yes.
So, what do you guys think about that?
It's a very interesting idea.
I'll speak on that. So I was very smart about making everyone's profession a specific profession, and Sam's a writer. And I was like, what is a terrible way for a writer to go out? It's terrible for a musician to go deaf. It's terrible for a singer to lose their voice. Like, he's a writer, and brain cancer takes away your functions. So there's a reason why he's typing the letter, because he can't write no more. Right? It may seem like, it's like little slight fucked up things, but like, he went through his process very early, and he knew it had been back for at least 2 months before sharing it to her. He shared it with Ava when he felt like he was really on his last few days, and he was really good at masking the bullshit because she was there every day. I don't have to do things because you're doing it for me, right? And she know, if I know that you're sick, we know we have this idea to coddle people. So it's like, all right, fuck it, I'm not gonna do nothing. So I'm literally living, and my health is deteriorating, and you're doing everything for me, so you'll never know until I'm ready to tell you. And so that was part of the thing, and he went through it bad, and I think I really wanted a story of isolation. I wanted everyone to be like, damn, Sam really died alone. And he did, obviously with COVID, no one can come into the hospitals. Ava was only there to know that he was there because she happened to work in the exact same hospital. Writer's coincidence, obviously. But like, it's a story about isolation, and it's a story about togetherness. Right? He was isolated, but they all came together. And I wanted that contrast, and he went through his grief. It's difficult because he's cancer free in January, and then like sometime around like March, April, it comes back, and if it's coming back, it's coming back aggressive, and it came back aggressive, and it got to a point, and I know this because I had a cousin who had colon cancer and is a survivor of colon cancer, and I remember I was talking to her about it and how the chemo feels, and it sounded fucking exhausted. It's weakening, and you want to sleep all day, and you don't want to get out of bed, and you have everyone in your fucking ear like, you can do it, and it's like, yes, I know I can, but my body is telling me that I can't. Mentally you want to be better. Everyone wants to be better. Sometimes physically, it's just not happening. And Sam just had that. It was just, his body was deteriorating. No matter what he wanted to do, it would not fucking work for him. So he wrote his screenplay early. He never got rid of his ticket, and he bought another ticket for Daniel. Right? And he was able to bypass when everyone was able to come see him, and he's able to do these things, right? They talk about writing, but he never said like what they did. Like he's like, he helped me write, but he didn't. He didn't like we. It's I'm specific when I want to be in, and vague when I don't want to be in. He went through the process very early. He knew for a while. What he did not know, however, is that she may or may not be pregnant. He was not aware of that. He died not knowing that he might have had a seed. That I will tell you for a fact is confirmed. He did not know that Ava may or may not be pregnant.
So I wanted to ask, what was he writing that Ava saw?
He was writing the will.
That
was the letter. He was writing the letter, and that's why the tears were coming down, because that's his kiss goodbye.
That one I saw. He said he was typing
yeah.
something on
And
the
it's
computer.
already-
Yeah,
you're right. You're
because
right.
I thought about it because it could have been he was writing her play or he was writing the will.
No.
No,
He's writing the
the first
will.
thing I was like, he's writing a will. Why would he be
Yeah.
crying?
I felt he was
Yeah.
writing the will.
It was the will.
If he was getting that emotional and he was ready for the question, like, what happened? Cancer's back. I'm not doing it. What do you mean? No, like he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will.
Made up.
That was it was a letter. It was the will.
Mind made up.
Yeah, and that's why he closed it with such haste. Cause yeah,
You didn't want to read it.
yeah.
So I closed it, put it on the side. You were very
Yeah.
specific when you said it. You didn't just say, "Oh, he closed the laptop and left it there." Closed it, put it on the side right next to him so that you can't get to it.
Yeah.
Cancer's back.
Mhm.
I'm not doing this.
You can't change my mind about it.
Can't change his mind.
This is done. It's written. It is. It's permanent now. Now it's written. This is it. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. It was. I was very. Yeah. It hurt. It hurt writing those things because it's like, oh shit, fuck. Somebody. I'm always scared about people coming to you and leaving you like letters. You know, like after like 13 Reasons Why, and then people leaving like tapes. It's like how would I feel if I got a tape or a letter? And letters can be so sweet, obviously, right? I wrote my cast and crew a really great letter, but like a letter like that is something that's really, really tough and really hard.
Devastating.
So yeah, his grief was a little bad. But then again, when you're diagnosed with terminally ill illnesses such as like cancer and lupus, and you kind of have to start making your mind up
From
early that I may or may not survive this.
Right.
And it's through your willpower and maybe through science and faith that you get where you get, or where you don't get where you get. I could have easily made this a story about redemption. Yeah, I got cancer and I fought it and everything is good, but life is not a fucking movie, Drew.
Sam comes back. Like I faked my death.
He never died. It was just all a fake.
Absolutely not.
Right.
Daniel was right.
Somebody
We never saw the body.
Somebody asked that. Who is it? It was Ryan. Said like I think his brother asked like, what if he was faking his death? No, he wasn't doing that. That's sick. He's a sicko. I'm not writing Saul. He's like, hey, you thought I was dead? That's my twin brother.
That's some real
That's some
telenovela
bullshit.
stuff.
Yeah. That was my twin brother, Damson. Yeah.
No.
Damson. I'm Samson.
My son Damson Idris. Shout out. Snowfall. Yeah, I don't watch, but
Oh no.
shout out to Snowfall. Yeah, I saw him in yeah.
So, to KeShaun, what inspired the play? Did the pandemic affect you? And also, do you think you achieved what you wanted?
Yeah, okay. What inspired the play? We went.
As if we didn't say it.
We didn't say that. Give Laylanie a vehicle was one of the first reasons why I came up with the idea of the play. When I had reached out to Tom Marian, shout out to Tom Marian, shout out to Your Cause Theater Department, I had presented Tom with two ideas, and it was this play, a play dealing with the 5 stages of grief, and each person being an embodiment of them, and another play that I'm still going to do at a later date. I'm not going to tell you when, but about a therapist and who's the therapist to the therapist, which I know is going to be emotional, and I can't wait to write that one. And I really wanted to write the therapy one. I was like, this is the one I want to do because I want to be the therapist, and I really want to do this one. Of course I do, right? and then I realized, I said, all right, let me write a page for each, and when I finish writing the page, I'll see where I want to continue. And I'm like, you know what? I actually like this one. The original title for this play was not Good Grief. It was Did He Suffer? And there was going to be a line where Becca would have been the person and asked, well, did he suffer? And Ava would probably be like, no, he didn't suffer. Like, he's free, or whatever the case is. And I was just like, kind of cheesy. So I changed it. And so, yes, I lost my Uncle Raw to COVID very early in the pandemic. My father's brother, Uncle Neville, passed away. I never met him. So I didn't necessarily go through the 5 stages of grief for him. But there was death in 2020. And so I was just like, 2020's been really shitty. I was like, I don't want to do something about COVID, but I promised Tom a virtual show. So I'm like, fuck, I have to create a world in which it makes sense that these people are all on Zoom and they're not like together. So I'm like, all right, cool. Fuck, He's not gonna die of COVID though, because I don't want to see COVID too much in my media. We have to talk about it, but we'll barely talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, but what is something that still kills people? And it was like cancer. So all right, cool, cancer. Chadwick Boseman had passed away from colon cancer. He was like a fucking idol for me, and I don't like to use that word idol, but like I seriously thought that I was gonna work with Chadwick Boseman in the future, and it crushed me. I know exactly where I was. I was crossing over the Kziana Bridge when I found out, and I started pounding the fucking wheel because I was like, fuck, not Chadwick Boseman. And like back to what Hez was talking about, like with Marvel movies, there was a time period where I felt like, man, I don't know, I'm scared I might just die in my sleep, and I'm like, I just can't die until I see like Black Panther or Infinity War and Endgame. Like when those shits come out, all right, I might be free to go. And it's a weird thing that was going on for a while. So that those deaths were there, and then I was just like, I kind of wanted a gut punch too, right? I did The Light, and The Light had a very ambiguous ending.
Rashad.
And everybody's like, what happened? What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, fucking fill in the blank. I did the work. I did all the extra work for you. Fill the blank in.
Somebody's want more.
Yeah, and so shout out to Cameron. Cameron helped me come up with the ending. I was like, look, she's pregnant. But is she pregnant or is she not pregnant? And so I wrote the words that I wrote. And I'll say with all intentions that she was not pregnant. It was written that she was not pregnant, and for me. And when we started doing the rehearsals with Rayna, I was like, you know what? The way you're saying it, I'm not getting it. I'm not feeling that like she didn't have the baby. I'm getting the bad thing. Maybe she did have the baby. And there's two sides to it. I said, you know what? I'll let people come to their own conclusion. Because as much as people say people want to have a definitive ending, but it's a lie. It's all a fucking lie. People want the ending that they want. If I told you flat out she had no fucking baby, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. Like, they wanted a baby. Okay. And if I gave them a baby, well, now she doesn't have a husband to raise. It's like, okay, well, fuck. Here, you figure out what they do. Whatever you want it to be is what you want it to be. And so, yeah, so I had wrote it that she didn't have the baby. And obviously, you know, if money calls and there's a sequel, we'll know what the true answer is. I might change my mind. Nothing is set in stone.
Money.
Yeah.
Was Ava pregnant? I don't know. And that's my honest answer. I don't know if Ava was pregnant. And, you know, it was up to me, it was up to the script, it was up to the audience to find out whether or not Ava was pregnant. I don't know. And it kind of reminds me of Monkey Paw, the short story. How it has a very unknown ending. People don't really know what happened. It's up to imagination to figure out what actually happened, even though you will never know. What would you have preferred? I would have preferred for her to not be pregnant, for sure. Because me being 21, I'm not looking for, well, I'm thinking about it, she is in her late 20s, so I don't know how she would, if she would want to be a single mother, but for me, no. So I would prefer for her to not be pregnant.
So I was inspired by the world and just giving commentary about where we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and did I shoot for it? I think I did. I think I hit that shit. Not to be cocky or whatever. No, I'm super grateful that the words that I put on the page were able to be lifted up gracefully by each actor. And like we didn't have it recorded, and I fucking wish we did. When we recorded the Zoom portion, the first Zoom portion of Scene 1, and you weren't there because you're downstairs, and it stops. I look at Rayna. What the fuck was that? I was like, what the fuck was that? And I'm so pumped, and I run down the steps. I'm like, yo, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, holy shit. Oh my God. I could have kissed all of them. I was on cloud 9 because it was like, fuck. I felt every beat, every word. And it's like, it wasn't draining, right? For me, it was like, this is what life is. Let's not sugarcoat it. Hollywood will give you like a nice little sheen of pink coat. Like, people don't argue. They'll be like, I hate you, but I love you. It's like, nah. It's like, yo, their anger carried over to the next day. They're still angry about it. They're still salty about it. Because that's what people are. That's what humans are. And I just wanted to show that. And I think I did that. I think I did a great job of showing the human experience. And if I didn't have my talented actors, my words would just be fucking words on a page. Yeah.
How reflective was the experience for you? Has it changed how you view your loved ones? You want to go for it?
I say no because I've always held them in like a high regard, or at least the people like who are legit loved ones. You know, people throw the term family out. You know, blood relatives or family. Oh, my friends are family. Who's really your family when it comes down to it? Mm-hmm. Like we were talking about it earlier. Mm-hmm. They say you can't choose your family. You absolutely can. You can, yeah. You absolutely can. You can't choose what your last name is. Can you change your last name? I don't know.
My last name is not my last name, so you
can definitely change your last name. So you can definitely choose who your family is, who you choose to associate with, flaws and all. Like you get to choose that, and people will go like, you know, oh damn, what's that word? Deep reverence. That's the song. Mm. So who do you hold in reverence? Who is reverential to you? Who do you say like, man, I really couldn't live without this person? I have a bunch of people who, in the back of my head, I'm always wondering if they're doing well. Like I said earlier, I'm not the best when it comes to reaching out. But when I do, they're always gonna reach back. Yeah. Those are the friends that I need. Yeah, like not everybody. Some people are like, hey, you don't text me ever, so what the fuck you text me for now? I'm sorry. I just live a life. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like I apologize to them. That person needs something that I can't give, and that's something that I've realized, not just because of this play, but in life in general. Sometimes you can't give what that person needs. Yeah. That person needs this much attention, this much of you, and you legitimately can't give it, or you don't want to give it. Yeah. And remove yourself. Say, hey, listen, you need this. I can't be the one that gives it to you. I'm sorry, it's not me. I know you want it to be me, but it's not who I am. And people will get mad and tell the person, like, that person that never cared about you. That person cares more about you than you know. They're willing to tell you, hey, you need these things, and you want me to give you these things. And I'm coming to tell you I can't do that. Yeah. And I want you to go and find that because I want that for you. And that person will think, well, you could just do it. I just told you I can't. Not that I don't want to, not that, I'd rather do something else. It's just I can't do that for you. It's not who I am. Mm-hmm. And that's when people go, well, then I'll just deal with it. And then we get to the secrets, the lie, like what you tell yourself, holding things in from people. Yeah. And that's when it just implodes. Mm-hmm. Because they told you what they were willing to give, you said you accepted it, and then you tried to push for more. Right. And because you thought, oh, but after a little bit of time, maybe it'll... Believe that person. Believe them. Truly. Because they will let you know. So I'm always reflective when it comes to relationships with people. Like at one point, I didn't talk to KeShaun for like 3 months. Yeah. I didn't say anything. But it's not that I was like, I don't care about him. It's just like, well, I'm not doing shit. Like I'm really not doing anything in my life right now. Literally. No, what do I say? Yeah, it's and obviously because we know each other, so I know the situation. I know that sometimes his social battery will just shut off. Mm-hmm. I've been with him and I've seen it shut off, right? So there's no pressure. It's like, there are people, and to clarify on that comment, like when I mean that there's some people I may not talk to you for years, but when I see you, what's up, brother? How you doing? And we can catch up and we'll talk. Like nothing has ever changed, right? Yeah. But there are some people who kind of almost feed off of your energy. You're necessary,
when I want to take you out this box and play with you, right? There's some people like it's just like, they'll post all their friends on social media and they'll never post you. But when you're in your worst and you need something, they're running to you. You know what I'm saying? So those people is what I'm talking about. Those people, cut that motherfucker off. Let that man or woman go. They don't need to be around. But before I start and answer this question, because I know I will. Yeah, it's one you have to kind of understand and know who people are. Yeah. And once you know who someone is, you know how to move forward to it. You know, like I know which conversations to have with them and which conversations not to have with them. Yeah. You know, like now I know what to talk to Dana about and what not to talk to Dana about. You know, like what's comfortable, what's not comfortable, and for me, like I present myself as like I'll talk to you about anything as long as I know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it. Even if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you. I don't know. It's my opinion. I'll talk about it. But things like these and experiences like these are very reflective always because you kind of want to sit there and be like, well, am I this person? Who am I when I'm not this person? You know, like there's a quote that says, you are who you are when you put a mask on. And everyone has a mask in this play. Everyone is putting on a facade. So do we really know who the true Daniel is? Yes, we do. And it's the regressive little boy who was angry that Sam got cancer because people were going to focus on him all over again. Yeah. Right? And we know that Becca is not this well put together yogi who gets angry and who wants to lash out. And we know that Angelica is still salty about the fact that she had someone who was gonna pursue her dream with her, and then just like said, "Fuck you, I'm leaving you. I'm dropping like a hot cake." And Ava is this person who's like, "Oh, you know what? He wants to kill himself. It's fine. No, I'm a mess because
the love of my life.
The love of my life is gone." You know. And Drew is just like, "Yeah, you know, like I'll be traveling and shit. I'll be exploring cultures or whatever. Like it's no sweat, but I'm lonely." If I'm not hanging out with Sam and going on vacations, I'm lonely. I want someone to be with me. I want Angelica, and she's like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone is wearing a mask. Everyone has a facade, and it makes you reflective. It makes you kind of question: am I who I am in each space that I inhabit at all times? Am I the same person? Yeah. And if you feel like you're a different person, you have to ask yourself, why am I different? Mm-hmm. What is the factor that is changing who I am in my space? Mm-hmm. You know, like me chatting away is me in every space. This is consistent, right?
Literally, he is not telling lies.
No. The second part of that too is like, this is from a rap song. But my boy Nas, he really says you are who you are when nobody's looking. Mm-hmm. So when the cash and the cars is gone the day after tomorrow, don't be asking to borrow ski mask your heart like the way you rap in your bars. And he's like, you said all of this stuff, right? Yeah. You are who you are when nobody's looking. So when everything is gone, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Are you going to ask like, oh man, I need to borrow? Are you gonna be who you said you were and go out there and take what you want? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, that's a big thing. Like, if no one's around, what are you doing? What are you thinking about?
Who are you?
Yeah. Who are you? And there's a lot of people who think, oh, because I thought it, that must be the way I'm thinking. No, not necessarily. You can think something and be like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with me? And then throw it out. Obviously, that's not your thought. Yeah. It's something that your brain is just like, what about this? Like, no, that's not me. Mm-hmm. You get to choose. A lot of people think, well, I thought about it. That must mean I want it. Like, no, you are choosing what you get to do. People like to say like, oh man, I had to. In some situations, it could feel like you have to do something. There's no other option than to do something. And even to the point where I've been in situations where like I had to do it. I know I didn't, but I felt like I had to. And you have to be reflective with yourself about that. Yeah. Did it have to go this way? Did it have to be this way? Could I have done something else?
And we lied to ourselves.
And we definitely
And everyone lied to themselves in the play. That's all they did was lie to themselves.
Lying motherfuckers, right?
They all lied.
I think I'll go with you first. Me? Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
So I'm gonna ask our question just in case. Okay. How reflective was the experience for you? Has it changed how you view your loved ones?
I wouldn't really say that it necessarily changed how I viewed my loved ones because I struggle to have like firm, healthy relationships with my loved ones. It was very reflective. I think it was at the end where I realized that like, you know, Becca really had like a facade and that, you know, I really was her minus the smoking and the crystals because the yoga is me. But you know, I think it was like somewhere in between I realized that, and then I think, you know, getting like sitting here now when we're talking about how every, you know, each character had like this facade thingy. I think it was in that moment that just made me realize like, wow, I was like, this is really me, you know, putting on this like, everybody in my job can tell you because I work in a school, right? I'm always this happy teacher with all these silly headbands and my puppets, and I'm always, you know, jolly. But like he was saying, you know, when nobody's around, who are you? You know, and I know who I am. I know that I'm not this jolly, happy, you know, person that you see on Instagram getting 200 likes in fucking an hour on my photos and with these cutesy captions, and that's just not me. You know, this is I put that out for the world to see because I don't want the world to really see who I am. So yeah.
So how has the pandemic really because I know for everybody, but I'm sorry too, how has the pandemic really affected how you respond to life? Like, because we feel like we're in the end times, right? And it's like, shit, I need to start living because I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah.
So I honestly, it was so scary because my dad's abusive, and my mom kind of sides with him on everything. So this is where, you know, I kind of, you know, speak about, you know, I don't have like a firm, healthy relationship with my loved ones because, you know, I have an abusive dad, and then I have a mom who just kind of sides with everything that he does, and, you know, he's always number one, and me and my siblings are like here, you know. So I was like, oh my god, like I have to live with these people for I you know, it's not that I have to live with them, but I have to stay quarantined with these people for God knows how many months, you know, and I also have so much anxiety as well when I'm around my dad and all that type of stuff. And I was just like, shit, you know, it was really hard, you know, I couldn't go to school anymore, I couldn't work, I couldn't go to see my kids. I was just living life behind a computer, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And then, you know, I believe it was during Memorial Weekend was the very first rape incident, because I have so many fucking incidents. But, it was Memorial Weekend. That was the very first rape incident. And I do have an actual boyfriend, but he lives upstate, up in the North Country. And the last time I saw him had to be last year in February. And that was the very last time I saw him. So, you know, it was tough having to, you know, live quarantined with my family, you know, away from my boyfriend. He couldn't be here to protect me, hug me, kiss me, tell me everything was gonna be okay. It was just really rough, you know, like I couldn't see him, and all I have left on me are those incidents, because the last rape incident I had is back in January of this year, so I have so many incidents.
Did
you know,
start getting contact with
beating
a
on-
therapist?
I have been, and you know, I'm currently in order protection. I'm working on one. I'm working on a case and all that type of stuff. But you know, just not, you know, being able to see a lot of people, and you know, not being able to really see my boyfriend, and I didn't really have a lot of friends during the time. I had this friend who was taking advantage of me like crazy, because I am a sweet person, and you know, I don't know how to say no a lot when people ask me for money and for things and for favors, you know, because I know what it's like to need something and I don't get it. And you know, she was really all I had. I wound up dropping her anyway, but you know, I was just in such a lonely time, you know, and my mom and I were fighting because of the stuff that she lets my dad get away with, and it was just really rough. It was really, really rough.
I want to hug you so bad.
Sorry, I know, I keep making everything so dark.
That's
No.
okay. I think you sharing a message, somebody need to hear that. And also you need to work on your true chakra and just let it out, and you know, and we all go through something, and I'm not trying to dumb down your situation, but I feel like you were strong just to share with us, you know.
That kind of makes me want to like answer the question because I didn't even get asked yet. But I feel like it's definitely been reflective where I am more open and expressive to like the people I love, and like I openly tell my friends that I love them and stuff because I didn't have a problem doing that. So I just want to say I love you guys.
Oh my god.
Yeah, trying to make me cry. Yeah.
So tell your family you love them.
Yeah.
Tell your family you love them. Call your mom.
Not call your mom.
At least call your mom. If you can't go to see her, like I can't go to see mine, but I try to talk to her as much as I can.
If you have a healthy relationship with them.
Yeah.
And if you don't
If
have
you
a
don't-
healthy, it's okay. You don't have to tell.
That's
them.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that means, but in what way being reflective? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I reflected off of it. Even though it's a great story, I really didn't really have to reflect on much because I felt as though I knew Ava.
I'm sorry.
It's a definite question because it was a whole year. We're still kind of going through it.
You are so
Kind of glad we're almost like at the end of it, kind of thing. You know, like things are opening up now and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this pandemic has really helped us to really get spark into like our creative side. Like at least for me, because like doing this play literally is like what helped me survive this pandemic.
Like when it first happened, I wasn't even home when it first happened. I was in DC, but during regular times like before COVID and everything, when you could go outside, you guys could KeShaun. I didn't really go out that much. I was either editing videos, shooting something, or I was just chilling in my computer playing games, talking to my friends. I talked to my friends on Discord, talked to my friends on whatever they were on. So I was always connected with something. Yeah. So when I wasn't able to go outside, for me it was like, okay, that option is gone. But genuinely, usually I do stay inside. Now, I am a very big, like, as much as I do like staying to myself, I really do need that. I don't like being alone. I've told people, like, I don't like being by myself. It sucks. I can tolerate it.
I can feel that. I live by myself.
I can tolerate it, but if I could choose, I wouldn't be by myself. So I had to, thank God I was with my friend and his family in Maryland for as long as I was, because they were just like, yeah, you just stay here. I was like, are you sure? Like, our basement's big enough. Just fucking stay here. They didn't say that because they're Christian, they don't curse. They're like, you just stay in the basement.
He didn't say it like that.
Yeah,
that's what he meant.
Stay your ass there. But blessings to them because they gave me a place to be. And my mom was like, oh, thank you. You know, you gave my son a place to be. So during COVID, it's like, and when I got it, I tell the story to my friends and they're like, oh my God. But to me, it's a little, like I said, I've been through some shit, so I bring a little bit of levity after it because I'm alive. But I had it over the summer. I don't know how I got it, and blessings that I made it through it. But when I had it, that first night, I remember vividly, I was laying down and I was like, this sucks. I felt terrible. My body hurt. I have headaches sometimes, and I hate headaches, but I was like, this is it. I told my friends this when I talked to them a few months ago. I was like, I dreamed about all of you. I thought about all of you, and I was like, I'm going to go to sleep right now. I'm probably not going to wake up. So let's think about all the good times I had with all of these people. And I was just like, and I laid back and I closed my eyes because I was like, that's it. This is how it gets people, because I felt terrible. I woke up the next day still feeling terrible, but I woke up and I was like, shit. What are we gonna do? Like every time I'm faced with something life-changing like this, and I wake up from it, I'm just like, okay, now what are we doing? So with that, you have to quarantine, you have to get better, you have to do these things, and it's like, okay, I have COVID. Now what? Or I got over COVID. Now what? I have to go home and deal with the shit that goes on in my house. Now what? I have to find a job. Now what? Like, it's always now what? Because I may not be as estranged as my parents like that, but sometimes I have had to do shit on my own. So it's not really like I can be like, hey, Dad, can you help me with this? He's gotten better over the years, trust me. But I still can't call him up when I need something like life-changing.
Yeah.
So really, when it came down to COVID, it's like, well, shit, there's not a lot of options for me anymore. I can't just go after the after-school program I worked for, gone. The summer camp I used to work at, gone. So what do? I found a job, ended up finding one close, but that's because they were desperate too. They're like, hey, fucking come,
Here you go.
we have a job.
Right.
So, like, now I'm just trying to make the best of what I have, best of my situations, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to go back to school, not York.
Yeah.
Not York.
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic has definitely let us all like take those small little opportunities because you never know when it's gonna be you.
Like this one.
Yeah. Like this one.
I would live for the day, honestly.
Like, ask me out for drinks, I'm there. Party,
I still may
let's go
say
to
no
Bible
to
study,
leaving the
I'm
house.
there.
Like, as much as I do enjoy my friends and I'll say yes to go out with them, I don't say yes to every outside event.
Yep.
People are like, hey man, come on, let's come. Like, and that's exactly why I'm staying in the house. Thank you.
If the pandemic taught me anything, it was what happened?
She just started laughing. I don't know.
Am I a comedian that makes you laugh?
It did sound similar to what you said in the prologue.
Oh, yeah.
2019 taught me.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, if it taught me anything, and it did, it's human beings have this bullshit idea that things have permanence. You know, like everyone thought, like, yo. Meanwhile, in 2020, I said, this is gonna be the year, y'all. I'm about to get this Netflix deal. You feel me? I made a whole Instagram post. I was trying to manifest it. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be this, and then halting stop. And I'm fortunate for the light having like bring me back into like form, and then riding that wave into coming in to do this, because you get to these points where you feel like, all right, the best things are created in times of adversity. Right, we've gotten some of our best inventions as human beings when life was not comfortable. When life is comfortable, it don't matter. You do whatever you want to do, right? And we were so uncomfortable for 2020, right? And I would never relate any of my experiences to anyone else in this room and how much of a struggle you went through. And but there is the place called good grief, right? There's still good that comes from the process of grieving, and how you choose to find it is how you choose to find it. It was 2020 wasn't bad for me. I took unemployment. I was chilling. I was in hotels. I was drinking every day, every week. You know, I got a little beer belly, and we got rid of that. Well, what? We got back into shade. I did a great play, and I got to meet like dope people. You know, I celebrated an anniversary. I celebrated a birthday. Like, you know, it and not to like diminish any struggle that anybody went through last year, but sometimes it takes a really low moment to appreciate the high moments. Right? And things get rough, and sometimes they feel like they're getting rough, and it feels as if life is just beating the shit out of you. Like it's just me. Like there's no one else that's being bothered in the world but me. We've all been there, right? But here we are, removed from what that situation was, and maybe you feel better, and maybe you don't feel better. And I can't promise you that there are better days, but I can only promise you that, like, the joy that you feel in your small part of your days, like if you go and you get a coffee and this coffee really hit that day, that coffee really hit because one day you had a really shitty coffee. That walk in the park, really fucking hit because you may have had like a bad experience and somebody may have cussed you out, you know, like it's the little small moments that are really highlighted by the really shitty moments that we have, right? And so yeah, like so appreciate the moments, right? And I and I wrote it that everyone has a moment with Sam, and everyone's moment is some inconsequential shit. No one's moment meant anything in the grand scheme of things. A scene for class. We got high and painted. It's not important, but those are the things that you will hold now forever and ever. My grandfather passed away when I was like 5, and I still have a memory of him, right? And it's insignificant things. I remember sitting down in his lap, rubbing his ear because he had a really big earlobe.
Your father's father?
My mother's father, and he'd be watching horse races. I remember one time I locked myself in the bathroom because I wanted to watch cartoons, and he was watching his horse races because he was a gambler. He would come and he'd buy me them nasty orange candy peanut shit.
Circus peanuts.
Yeah, gross as shit, but I remember that, right? Insignificant moments, but significant to me.
Yeah.
Because now it's gone and that's all that I have to remember, right? So, you know, 2020, if 2020 and we did this play in 2021, right? But like, if you take anything out that, right, it's like, wow, the world felt like it was coming to an end. But you're still here. That's significant. Even if you feel insignificant into the world, because you're one of 7 billion, that's significant. You're meant to be here. And if you're watching this, I don't know if you need to hear this, but you're meant to be here, right? And whatever your purpose is, whatever your story is, share it with the world as best as you can. I'm trying to continue to tell stories, and whether they're my stories or someone else's stories, because they may not have the voice to speak their story, the stories are being shared. And even if it means that like you're here to see this and you're not here to see other things, that's fine. But I want you just to enjoy that levity that you have in these moments that you have. Take space and hold your space and own your space and enjoy your space, because you're meant to be here. And grief is good. It teaches us, and we grow as human beings after we experience grief. We all go through denial. We all go through bargaining and anger and depression, but you eventually come to the acceptance of it all. And what you do with your acceptance is on you. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you how to live your life, but I can only tell you, try to get to acceptance. Yes.
I think you guys answered the last question, which is, how in touch are you with your emotions?
Yes. I would say the thing is with me is that I'm monotone, so it seems as though I'm not in touch with my emotions, but I would say I think it's a blessing being monotone, because you're not so much in the forefront. You're not very emotional in terms of your demeanor, but you're very logical in terms of how you feel. So you can understand how you're feeling, but you can also understand whether or not those emotions are reasonable. And there's a difference between being valid and reasonable. And let's see, did that help or hurt your performance? Help or hurt my performance? I don't know what that means. Because when I think of Ava, I think that she's more in control with her emotions, and that's what I resonate. I can be in control of my emotions. But did it hurt or help my performance? In the end, it's odd, because even though I am in touch with my emotions, I also don't like crying in front of people. I just dislike it. Because one of the purest ways of being vulnerable. So I don't really like crying in front of people like that. So being in touch with my emotions, did it help or hurt it? I'll say neither. It really didn't do much besides, well, as an actor, it's really good to be knowledgeable of how you feel and knowledgeable about how other people feel. So I would say sure.
Very in touch.
Very
in touch. Their emotions.
Were there more questions?
No.
You have more?
No, I'm asking you. Because I was going to do the outro.
And some people will say that they're in touch, not be in touch with them, for real. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, you know, sometimes I just feel stuff. They don't know why.
Yeah.
They just know they're feeling it. Like, yeah, I feel sad. Well, why are you sad? Well, you know,
I just feel sad.
like,
Yeah.
it's okay sometimes because it will come and hit you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But if that's constantly what you are and you're not even able to explain it to yourself, maybe you should look a little bit deeper. So why are you feeling sad about something?
Yeah.
Because like I could sit here and tell you exactly what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling it, and tell you like it might not even be your fault. I'm like, listen, it's not even your fault because a lot of people will take that. They'll take some anger they felt from one place,
And
push
just
it on
post
to
it,
the next. And now that person's angry, so they'll take that anger and push it on to the next. I always tell people, I don't like that cycle. I try to stop it. The job I got right now makes it very difficult. But I still I be stopping it. Because I'm like, I could do a lot more. Because I don't know why you're angry with us. Because we didn't do anything.
Right.
But you're angry at something. Whether it be your job or something that happened outside, something that's going on in your personal life. Something is making you angry and you are just hee-hoing everything out of the way because you're mad at this.
Yeah.
And then what's gonna happen once you calm down? Shit's fuck. I can't believe they made me do this. Huh?
Yeah.
You mean the person who took your parking spot on 5th Ave? Like that person didn't do all the rest of this.
Yeah.
You did that. You got mad and just took it the rest of the day.
Yeah.
5 minutes fucked up 23 hours and 55 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't just handle that 5 minutes and just move on. So that 5 minutes is now 2 days. Now I'm sorry, but yesterday somebody really fucked with me. I'm like, yesterday?
We're still thinking about it.
It's Tuesday. You talking about Monday. When does it end? When does it end?
Yeah.
We have to move on. It's hard. It really is hard. I'm trying. I mess up sometimes. I don't get like very angry, but it's like, man, I really still can't believe that happened the other day. Like, that's nuts. I'll let it go. It may come back later on in the day, but you just have to take it as it is. You can't change the past. It happened. Move on.
My advice to any person of color, seek a therapist.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with therapy. You can seek God as well, but also seek a therapist. Talk to somebody. And talking to and therapy is not calling your friend and being like, yo, I'm about to unload like 2 years worth of trauma on you. Nope. Because therapy is a plan. And it's a plan about how to move forward and how to accept and cope and deal. See a therapist. There's nothing wrong with therapy. If I can advocate for anything, see a therapist. Mental health is important. It's far more important than we let on. And if this pandemic has showed us, people can't survive without human interactions. Yeah.
Know you're fallible too. Know you don't always make the correct decision.
Right.
You made a mistake.
We all make mistakes.
Let it be known.
Yeah.
And don't just say, I fucked up, but that but don't need to be there.
Yeah.
I fucked up.
Full
Apologize for real.
Yeah.
Don't try to negotiate it. Don't try to justify it. If you fucked up, you fucked up. You're a human being. Just say you did it. If the person forgives you, they forgive you. If they don't, they don't. This is the life we live. And there's a lot of those interactions that cause people to get sad out of nowhere, to be depressed, to think of something, and to take that anger, because a lot of people don't get past anger, and they will just run through it. So please, understand that you're fallible. Seek help, as he said. Even if that person tells you something you don't want to hear. Even if that person's like, I hate this phrase, but even if that person says you're not ready for that conversation, sometimes you might not be.
Yeah.
I do hate that phrase though, because it just eliminates any rebuttal, because it means they don't have an argument, they just say, you're
You're
not
not ready for that conversation.
But I am. That's why I'm here for the conversation. Like, nah, you're not ready for that conversation. Okay.
Any last words, guys?
Yeah.
Watch Good Grief again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you guys so much for coming to our table talk with the cast of
Alright,
Good
table.
Grief.
Yeah.
And we're so happy that you guys stuck around with us. You know, we cried and we got emotional, we got sober with you, and thank you guys so much for being here. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.